talk about many hype things in the land of the MCU. And, of course, we have to laugh at Sony a little bit, too. But you got to do what you got to do, right? So what we got to do right now is we got to get ready. So that means fill your cup, light your smoke, because it's time for some hump day nerdiness. What's happening, everybody? How y'all doing, chat? Welcome into the Wednesday night stream. We have so much stuff. So much big stuff. We have big announcements. And from big announcements, we may get on some big speculations. And of course, because we are who we are, or at least because I am who I am, I'm going to shit on Sony a little bit too. So, with that being said, how we all doing? What's going on, chat? What's up, Daniel? Martha! Wrong company, bruh. What's up, Brooke? Let's fucking go, says Daniel. Hell yeah. Yes, we have much to discuss. And it's going to be a fucking blast. Even if it's coming from me. So how's everyone doing? We doing all right? Life treating you okie dokie? How are things? What is happening with you, chat? And of course, welcome one and all. It is a massive pleasure to have you here, hanging out, spending time with moi. I greatly appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, if you would be so kind, please hit all those buttons. Hit the like. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe and then hit that notification bell. That way you will know exactly when all the good times roll up in here. So hit them buttons. Should be one right there. Should be a thumbs up right in this neighborhood. And then there should be a subscribe. And then when you hit that, there should be a little bell. And fill that bitch up. Okie near Muskogee? Cool. What up, Dan? Awesome. Thank you, sir. How you doing tonight, man? Good to see you. Oh, by the way, Daniel, we were the Mrs. Chillin and I were perusing through your hot sauce site. We saw some stuff that we think people we know would like. Might be getting a little business from the basement. That's all I'm saying. What up, Lou? Yo. What's happening? What is, as they say, a crack-a-lack-a-lackin'? Or if you're in a skeleton crew type of mode, you might be like, how be ye? Guys doing all right? I hope you're doing good. No matter how you are, I'm hoping you'll be even better by the time we're done with this here stream. I think we will be. Because there's some seriously hype shit happening. Seriously hype. I'm doing all right, Lou. How about you, Lou? How be you? Not that. Could have swore this was. What is this? What is this? That's it. It's what I want. Yeah, oops. Doing okay. Cool. Brooks doing all right. He's excited for nerdy goodness. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Go, motherfucker. That's where the fucking article came from, you motherfucker. There it is. That's the one I wanted right there. That's the one I wanted right there. There we go. Fucking article was hiding from me. I hate that shit. Alrighty then. Well, I'm glad to see everyone is doing well. You guys ready to get into this shiz? Are you ready? All right. As we all know, the premiere of Kraven the Hunter is this week. And as is traditional on the week of a movie's release, we get some early social media reviews, or at least modern tradition, dictated to us by the information age and the massive presence of social media in general. This is now a thing. We get early social media reviews for movies now. And the early reviews are out for Kraven the Hunter. And they ain't good. They are not good at all. For the most part. So let's dive in. This comes from The Direct. What a headline to start with. Quote, I want my money back. End quote. Kraven the Hunter movie's first reviews and reactions are not good. Kraven the Hunter had his first screenings, but early opinions are not doing Sony any favors. That's just the headline and the subheadline. The meat of the article begins as such. Kraven the Hunter had its first showings for critics, and it is safe to say that it is not performing well by any measure. Aaron Taylor Johnson is set to play his second Marvel character in Kraven the Hunter, Sony's most recent film in the Spider-Man universe. Unfortunately, as with many of its predecessors, it is not expected to be a hit. That might be a severe understatement right there, or extreme politeness, because a more accurate way of putting it was it is about to be a dumpster fire of nuclear magnitude. Anyway, early box office projections for Kraven are underwhelming at best. It is predicted to finish its opening weekend with only a $20 to $25 million domestic haul. That has been revised downward to like 13 to 15 million, I believe. Yeah. Add that to the negativity surrounding this franchise, and this solo film is already looking at an uphill battle. I mean, yeah, that's what happens when you fuck up your franchise. Sony did not learn from Lucasfilm. At least, at this point in time, they hadn't. First critics' reviews for Kraven the Hunter. Social media reactions. I feel like they picked that picture on purpose. Because once we get into the reviews, you're going to see this is pretty much what the reviewers are doing to this movie. This is a intelligently chosen picture. Sony Pictures hosted the first critic screenings for the latest addition to Sony's Spider-Man universe, Kraven the Hunter, ahead of its Friday the 13th debut. How fucking apropos is that? How apropos is that a movie that looks to bomb significantly is coming out on Friday the 13th? That's serendipitous, at least for me. Anyway, the results from those early showings are not promising, as critics did not look favorably upon Kraven. YouTuber Chris Parker enjoyed Aaron Taylor Johnson's performance, but called everything else a drag, noting that the cast was held back by clunky, dull dialogue. Okay, I'm going to start skipping these and going, just saying who said it and going right to the actual quote, because I'm not reading all this shit twice. Fuck that. Kraven the Hunter is fun when Johnson is in action, causing bloody chaos, but everything else is a drag. Great cast, held back by clunky, dull dialogue. Another instance of a villain turned hero. A story that lacks any intrigue. Rhino and Chameleon wasted. Overall, a disappointment. Wow. Oh, and by the way, did anyone know Chameleon was going to be in this? Because this is the first time I've heard of it. I knew about Rhino. We all knew about Rhino. He was in the preview. Did I just forget Chameleon was in this? Did they show him in the preview? Any of the trailers? Help me out with that one. Okay. And then critic Chris Gallardo, poor Josh doesn't know how to pronounce Hispanic names, said the following. Sony's Spider-Man universe doesn't go with a bang, but a whimper. Kraven the Hunter is cliched at all turns. Aaron Taylor Johnson tries to make the most of it, yet the script holds it back. Action is a bit fun, but it's muddled with much pompous exposition. Oof. From Geekly Goods, Leo Rydell. So, Kraven the Hunter, a big old bucket of nah. While I liked the action, it cut away from it so quick one didn't get to enjoy it. Awful acting, terrible script, and a waste of Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I actually enjoyed in the role. Way too quick. Not a great story. Farewell. Discussing films, Andrew J. Salazar. Kraven the Hunter was probably a solid action movie at one point, but the usual Sony antics are all here. Painful ADR, choppy editing, and tons of lifeless CGI animals. Not worth the ticket price, but there are like 3 scenes that I'm super excited to see as new memes. He's more excited to see the memes from the movie than he was to see the movie. Good God. Screen Crush video producer Colton Ogburn simply said, I want my money back, and the screening was free. Okay, we're going to spend a little time on this one. How many of you raise your hands in the chat, or in this case, spam one or yes, or I don't really care. Just let me know if you know who Colton Ogburn from Screen Crush is. I know we all know Ryan, but are we familiar with Colton as well? Do we know Colton? Do we know his reputation? Are we familiar, chat? What's up, Travis? How you doing, man? Thanks for coming in. It's going all right. We're entertaining ourselves with the horrible reviews of Kraven. Yes, that's the bro that's stuck in the TV. Exactly, Lou. Are you guys familiar with any of his takes at all? I mean, I can catch you up real quick. Exactly, Delta Dan. He was an Acolyte fan. Now think about this. Someone who liked Acolyte, enjoyed Acolyte, defended the Acolyte. Okay? Before we go back over exactly what he said again, let's let that marinate for a minute. This individual, whose words we are about to go back over, liked the Acolyte and defended the Acolyte. Actually, Brooke, I think you're right. I think he wants Kang back. I'm pretty sure now that you mentioned it, I heard him say it in a video. Okay, so he wants Kang and he likes the Acolyte, right? Marinate on it. Let that sink in. Feel the fullness of the ridiculousness. Okay? Now we go back to his words. Two highly poignant phrases, especially... Kinda, yeah. You're right, Travis. He does kind of look like Kinnison, whom I will not imitate despite the temptation to do so because it would hurt my wife's head. Just these two profound lines right here. Oops. And again, one more time, I'm going to harp on this. This is an individual who wants Kang back and who legitimately enjoyed and defended the Acolyte. These are his words after watching Kraven. I want my money back. Money back. I'm going to start over. I want my money back. And the screening was free. Think about this. Think of the implications of those two simple sentences coming from that individual. Holy shit. Like, if that homie, who actually is a cool guy, I've seen him in a few Screen Crush videos. He definitely has some odd taste from time to time. But he's not, he's not a douche. He's not an asshole, you know. And he came out with, I want my money back, and the screening was free. I don't know that, like, any review that anyone else could put out there could potentially be worse than that. Once you consider the source. For full context. Like, wow. Like, how bad does Kraven have to be for Colton Ogburn, of all people, to issue that two-word or two-sentence condemnation of that movie. Holy shit. From film... Good Lord. From Film Blurred, Brandon Norwood says, Kraven the Hunter is one of the most soulless movies ever made. Even J.C. Chandor has made something so soulless and generic. Kraven with a K. The founder of Nerdtropolis, Sean Tejapur, had actually a positive review. Kraven the Hunter is a knockout. Where's he from? Nerdtropolis. We need to remember this. Kraven the Hunter is a knockout. Aaron Taylor Johnson embodies Kraven with his physique, charisma, and raw savagery. The R rating pays off big time. This film is bloody, raw, and brutal while offering a story that does this iconic villain justice. I am dying for more Kraven after what I just experienced in IMAX. Now, I'm not saying that literally no one should enjoy this movie, okay? Like, let's get that out of the way. But when a majority of the reviews are like the above up here that we just got done reading, and then you get this level of glazing, I have a very hard time considering a review like this to be genuine. That's me. Now, if the reviews were even a bit more evenly split, I'd be more willing to buy this as a genuine review of this movie. But with all this, it's very difficult for me. It just feels so much like a bot. That's all I'm saying. Grace Randolph, your mileage may vary on her. She said, so, I'm seeing other people post reactions, so I guess the social media embargo has lifted. Kraven the Hunter, I loved it. As good as the first Venom. I would watch it again. Well, I mean, good for you, Grace. Personally, I find her taste in content to be somewhat suspect compared to mine own. What up, Griff? She is, however, damn good at the business side, evaluating the business side, reporting the business side, and she has legit connections. Like, I mean, she's not top tier like, Alex Perez or Jeff Snyder are, but she does get shit right. But, yeah, when it comes to her, her taste in films, at least for me, suspect. Sometimes. Liam Crowley from Screen Rant said the following. Kraven excels in action, but ultimately just doesn't have the sauce. Strange story structure decisions, overwhelmingly brutal ADR, and an overall disbelief within the characters themselves. Crow was the only one who sold his dialogue. Leagues above most SSUs, interesting, but still lacks. All right, well, he didn't, completely shit on it. I mean, he took a fairly decent-sized dump on it, but, he gave Russell Crowe some shine, and he said it's still above most of the rest of the SSU. So, okay. Russ Milheim from The Direct. Kraven the Hunter is exactly the film you'd expect at this point. The film doesn't understand a single character it tries to adapt to screen, and the whole movie often feels created by AI. Holy shit. Now, outside of that one Glazer review and a couple other very highly bot appearing posts on the TwitX, it would seem a vast majority of the opinion is that this movie is stanky buttholes. I mean, that it's it's just nuts how much this movie is getting shit on. Like, we're talking Madam Web levels. We're also talking Madam Web levels of box office. Remember, this article said 20 million, but that's been revised downward since this article came out. It's now down to like 13 to 15 million rather than 20 to 25. This movie is fucked. Even if it had gotten a shit ton of positive reviews, like, most people are just done with the SSU. You know what I mean? But yeah. This is things are not going to go well for Kraven the Hunter in the box office. That is for damn sure. What do you guys think, chat? How do you feel about these reviews? Are you even going to go see this fucking movie in the theater? What do you think? I'm going to get caught up on your older chats while you are hopefully putting newer chats in the chat. Brooke says, yeah, I want my Spider-Verse film right now. Fuck yeah. Daniel Camillian who? Yeah, Brooke says it's fine even if Sony loses money on Kraven because they can make up for it with Beyond the Spider-Verse whenever that comes out. I don't know that that's true. I mean, there have been some like seriously money-making animated features recently, but what the fuck did Across the Spider-Verse make? Because it made a lot more than the first one. Okay, wow. Across the Spider-Verse did 500 million. 506.3. So yeah, that did solid live action movie numbers. So yeah. I don't know if they'll be able to make up for it, but they can definitely take a chunk out of the loss, that's for damn sure. Acknowledging who Colton is. Sony ain't writing Screen Crush checks. Yeah, and at least the most recent one bounced anyway. Brooke says, I mean, it can't get worse than Morbius, right? Well, after these reviews, I'm not sure if that's a true statement. Travis says, I thought Acolyte was fine, that Venom sucked, Venom 2 was annoying, Morbius was bad, Madam Web was entertaining, and Venom 3 was good. Kraven doesn't look good, but I'm giving it a shot. I mean, I'm going to watch it. I'm just not going to the theater to watch it. I'll probably watch it late next month. Brooke says, I wish Justin was here in the stream. Would love to see his reaction to these Kraven reviews. He would probably go on a rant of some kind, which I would totally enjoy listening to. Like, for real, though. Travis says, I thought No Way Home was near complete garbage, so my takes aren't much to go by. Haha. Yeah, that's true. If you thought No Way Home was complete garbage, then yeah, your takes are utterly worthless around here. Buddy craving some Kraven. Oh, yeah, that super glazer guy. Yeah, I know, right? Delta Dan says, I might enjoy it on streaming. I mean, that I'm going to stream it for sure. The enjoying part is still up in the air, but I'm going to watch it. What up, Griff? Brooks says, I'm going to see the new Lord of the Rings film, not Kraven, this upcoming Friday or weekend. Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to go to the theater for War of the Rohirrim either. I'm still intrigued by it, but that 8 minutes they released last week did nothing for me. It didn't make me want to see it less, but it definitely didn't help either. Boop. Where are we at? Dan says, Grace likes six-pack abs. I mean, let's be real. Motherfucker's got an 8-pack. He's in ridiculous shape. Oh, her check went through? Yeah. Yeah, her check went through for sure. Brooke says, damn, someone thinks Kraven feels like an AI-created film. That's interesting. I don't know that they... Yeah, it feels like an AI-created film. Yeah, that's... That might be a very diplomatic way of putting it. Interesting. For me, that feels like that was probably a more creative way just to shit on the movie. Especially with how divisive AI is in the first place. So, yeah. Can't remember who said that, but whoever said that must really not like Kraven. Lou says, this movie must be smelly. Yeah. Del dances, yeah, I heard 13 to 15. Yeah. Lou says, shit, the SSU is done with the SSU. It's true. Brooke says, yeah, yes, SSU is over. We got to celebrate sometime. Oh, yeah, for sure. Dan says, that's insane. If my wife lets me, I might check it out because my AMC A-list expires January 2nd. Well, yeah, definitely be like, hun, I'm seeing it at a discount. Otherwise, I wouldn't go see it. Brooke says, well, if there's time, I'll try to see if I can watch Kraven in theaters, but not likely. I mean, I'll put it this way. If you all of a sudden get an opportunity, then yeah, go. But based on these reviews, I wouldn't make any effort to clear time. You know what I mean? Dan says, Sony has still made a profit on Marvel stuff. I heard today on some other stream. Yeah. They've cleared grossing $2 billion on the Venom trilogy. So it's not like they've made nothing. It's just a matter of how much they lost with Morbius, Madam Web, and how much they're going to lose with this movie, and how much of the Venom profits those are going to eat. So, Brooke says, well, Sony does have good Marvel games. The Spider-Man games are definitely games I want to try out. Sony, as of the last renegotiation of the license, only has the movie rights to Spider-Man. Everything else is Marvel's now. Animation rights, merch rights, all that shit. Sony only has live action. Although that is outside of the merch, that's the one you want. You know? But yeah. Griff says, sucks for Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's not a bad actor, but this movie may tarnish his career. He shined in Bullet Train, bouncing off of Brian Tyler Henry. No diddy. Sony's turnover for actors has got to be massive. Oh yeah, they're on Lucasfilm levels. Travis says, there's that clip where Kraven runs into the snow, and I couldn't help but think it should have been him ending up at the camp from The Thing. Only he has to fight a symbiote crashed in the snow. Kraven versus polar bears, wandering through snow while the symbiote possesses and kills people. Him having to figure out who has it would be fun. Yeah, that definitely seems like it's better than what we're about to get and what those guys already got. Lou says, "Oh shit, son." Yeah. Travis comes up with really good story ideas. Like, I totally respect Travis's brainstorming skill when it comes to stories, or at least the premise for a good story. But then he has to ruin it with thinking No Way Home was total garbage. That's right, I can separate the two. I can acknowledge your acumen with coming up with a cool story while also simultaneously shitting on your No Way Home take. It's called nuance. It's called credit where credit is due. Dan says, now on that stream, they said between all the Sony projects, they are making movies, including Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, Morbius, etc. And even with this one projected filming 15 mil, they are still making money. Okay. Well, are we talking like overall Sony Studios or just the Marvel section? Because overall Sony Studios is doing pretty well. They generally do. I'm pretty sure they're doing a lot of propping up of the SSU. At least for now. But yeah. It was Campia? Oh. How can Campia do math when he's staring at Toby's junk all the time? That's what I want to know. Really? Just Marvel? Okay. Well, I'd be underestimating some shit then. All right, well, good for them. Question is how much money did they make? I'll bet the profit was nowhere near as much as they wanted it to be. I think I can safely say that. Travis says, imagine the symbiote goes into a glacier, finding a frozen mammoth or dinosaur, resurrecting it with the symbiote, putting Kraven up against a game before his time. I mean, that was one of the cooler aspects of Venom 3 was all the aminals. All the Venom animals. I even liked Venom Frog. That was fun. Venom Horse is still my favorite, though. For sure. Yeah. So, essentially, Kraven's going to suck. We should all probably wait till streaming. Or at worst, or at best, only go to like a matinee showtime. And bring your own snacks. But yeah, this is this is not going to be good. This movie is going to tank so badly. But like the Marvels in the MCU, that's what happens when you be fucking up for a while and dilute your brand. You know? Travis says, Venom 3 was a surprise for me. That third act was kind of epic. It was actually a pretty cool third act, for sure. Dan says, I was driving and he popped on. I don't usually listen to him, but he was talking Marvel. I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, if I'm randomly going through shit and something Marvel pops up, I'm like, ooh. So, yeah, for sure. Wait a minute. Ah, damn it. I clicked one too many times. I clicked one too many times. I hate it when that happens. There we are. Okie dokie. What the fuck is all that shit? Okay. Interesting. Oh, you motherfucker. How the hell are you going to do that shit? Alright. Well, that sucks ball sacks. Alright, well, we'll just wing that one. Deldan says, F around and find out. I mean, yeah. Brooke really liked Venom 3. No, I enjoyed Venom 3. Matthew, what's going on? Welcome in. Matthew says, Marvel's was strange. Captain Marvel was a guest star in her own movie. It's like they tried to make several different movies in one and did none of them well. Yeah, there's definitely some of that. And some of that Brie Larson brought upon herself. It's kind of how that worked. But yeah, that was definitely not a well-conceived nor that well of an executed movie. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as the box office made it look. Like, the reviews for it weren't this bad. You know, they were a bit more mixed. When I went and saw it, I came out of the theater like, okay, that was better than I thought it would be. I mean, that's about as far as I went with it, but yeah, it was not that well conceived or what have you movie. All right, I'll just go with that one. Brooke says, even if he didn't appear that much, it was still cool to see Null in Venom 3. Yeah, I mean, even though they could have done a much better job on the face, the concept of Null is dope. Andy Serkis voicing Null is dope. The aesthetics of his first appearance, not so dope. Delta Dan says, I liked Venom 3. I wouldn't say really. Yeah, I wouldn't say I really liked it, but I liked it. Travis says, Venom fighting the dog fighters was straight out of a 90s comic. Cool. Travis also says, damn, Kraven escapes a Russian prison, finds a symbiote which possesses some gnarly animals, then he has to team up with the Russian prison. Symbiote attaches to him, Null using him as his herald. Interesting. That would have been better, and I haven't even seen the movie. Yeah. Null looked like Corey Feldman. Interesting comparison. And he says the X-Men thing at the end with CGI beast Kelsey Grammer in Marvel's felt like a Kinberg thing. Yeah, a little bit. But on the bright side, it gave us an X-Men universe where, unlike the A38, Xavier is still alive. So I'm 90% sure that's basically going to be the Foxverse. And that's also going to be the universe where Deadpool and Wolverine now reside. Matter of fact, I think that was confirmed at one point. I can't remember where or by whom, but I think that was confirmed. What up, Brady? How you doing? Thanks for coming by. Appreciate you. As I do all of you who hang out here in the basement with me. And hit the buttons while you're here. Pretty please and thank you. All right. We are going to continue with the Sony talk. But we're done, like, specifically shitting on Kraven for a moment. And we're going to talk about certain decisions. What the fuck? We're going to talk about certain decisions Sony seems to have made. that's actually surprisingly intelligent. This comes from Digital Trends. It says, goodbye, Spider-Man universe. Kraven will likely be the last movie in Sony's SSU. After 6 years of flops and diminishing returns, Sony is saying farewell to its Spider-Man universe, also known as the SSU. According to a new report from The Wrap, Humberto Gonzalez, if I recall correctly, Kraven the Hunter will likely be the final film in the polarizing SSU. Instead of building movies around characters associated with Spider-Man, Sony will now focus on projects directly connected to the friendly neighborhood superhero. They've developed what they want to develop for now, a top talent agent told The Wrap. It's really about the next Spider-Man film. Piss off. Sony pivoted its Spider-Man strategy after the Sinister Six movie never materialized due to the disappointing returns from 2014's The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Sony reached an agreement with Marvel Studios to collaborate and bring Spider-Man into the MCU. Additionally, Sony would develop its own MCU called the SSU, which was to be built around characters and villains related to Spider-Man. The first film was 2018's Venom, an origin story starring Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock. Despite poor reviews, Venom became a smash hit financially, grossing over $856 million worldwide. The sequel, 2021's Let There Be Carnage, did fairly well, grossing $506 million at a time when movie theaters struggled during the pandemic. Yeah, based off how much Venom made, if we weren't all pandemic-y at the time, I'll bet you that one would. I'll bet you Venom 2 probably would have at least hit 7. That I would bet that. Other than the Venom movies, the SSU has failed to win over critics and audiences. Morbius and Madam Web flopped, while Kraven the Hunter's initial box office estimates are low. Why did the SSU fail? Besides not having Spider-Man, one insider cited the poor quality of the films as a reason for the universe's downfall. No shit. The biggest issue with the Sony Spider-Man spin-offs seems to be the lack of quality control. The movies just aren't good, said a source in the Wrap's report. Sometimes that lack of quality meets a movie no one asked for, which was the case with Madam Web, and that is a no-win scenario. It may be time for Sony to start cultivating different IP to launch new franchises. With the eventual end of the SSU, Sony will now turn its efforts toward its upcoming Spider-Man projects, including Spider-Man 4 starring Tom Holland, the animated Beyond the Spider-Verse, which the evil Miles Morales variant voice guy has still not recording any lines yet, by the way, and the Spider-Noir television series with Nicolas Cage, which actually looks pretty fucking dope to this point. So, chat. Sony is not going to do any more SSU movies. They're going to concentrate on Spider-Man 4, Beyond the Spider-Verse, and Spider-Man Noir. Believe it or not, do you know what that means? It means something, frankly, that we thought would probably never happen. It would appear that Sony finally listened to what the nerdy market was telling them, and they're not going to do that stupid shit of making Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies anymore. They're going to concentrate on Spider-Man. A wise decision. A very wise decision. And frankly, amazing that they actually came to realize what's really going on and did not stay in a constant state of denial, which they were doing, obviously. Prime example is they even conceived of an El Muerto movie. It would appear Sony has learned its lesson. And we already had one indicator of that when we found out a few days back that they're releasing Kraven in 3,000 less theaters or more, 3,000 to 3,500 less theaters than they released Madam Web and Morbius in. That was our first indication that they knew. And then now this. And this is not just random rumor. This comes from The Wrap. It's a Hollywood trade, which means it is one of those, I guess you could still technically call it a publication, that were they to print something that the studios didn't want them to print, they would retract it. We've seen it happen. The biggest example I can think of in recent times is when, which one was it? I feel like the Direct, might have been the Direct, dropped that story that Lucasfilm wanted Tony Gilroy to take over all the Star Wars and write all the Star Wars. Yeah, that article, they posted that article, and about 5-6 hours later, that motherfucker was gone because Disney come in like, no. Like, if it's in a trade, whether or not the studio has announced it, it's essentially confirmed. Like, that's just the reality of how things are now. And this came from a trade. So, it would seem we've had a minor miracle out there in Sony Studios. Someone finally yanked their head out of their ass and realized, we're fucking this Marvel thing up a bit. We need to stop. We need to just do Spider-Man because we know that's going to fucking work. It already has been. And, yeah, we're not doing any of that other silly shit anymore. Now, if you think about it, that's basically 3 out of the 4 big nerdy studios that have come to some realizations. Marvel's smack dab into the in a turnaround, and we're going to start to see the fruits of that next year. And next year is only 3 weeks away. Keep that in mind, folks. Like literally 3 weeks away, because it's Wednesday. New Year's Day is a Wednesday. So, we're going to start to see the evidence of that pretty damn quickly now. We'll see. We'll see how James Gunn does with Superman. But at least that has a lot of potential to reinvigorate DC, as it were. And then, of course, now it would appear Sony has finally gotten a clue. That only leaves Lucasfilm, who is still staying stubborn as fuck. Good timing on that one. Not till there's a massive change at the top. I'm not saying it'll never happen, but the only way we can have any real hope of change in Lucasfilm is when a bunch of the top executives are gone. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting that Sony finally seems to have gotten a fucking clue. Now they still have to get through the shitburger that is Kraven. Like that, it's coming out in 2 days. They're stuck with that motherfucker. But they're smart enough not to do any more, at least for the foreseeable future. Now, after Secret Wars, depending on what kind of deal they work out with Marvel Studios, they might do some interesting shit. They might delve back into some of Spider-Man's rogues gallery, as it were. But at least for now, they're being smart and only worrying about the 3 active Spider-Man projects they have and nothing else. What do you guys think, chat? How you feel about Sony, at least for the foreseeable future, ending the SSU? Read that one. All right, Travis says, I think Sony would do well to do a what if Spider-Man series. I don't know what the escape button abbreviation is for. Where they do animated anthologies using the SSU, Spider-Verse, and live-action Spider-Man characters. That would be cool. Delta Dan says, from what I heard, they're just taking a break off non-Spider-Man movies. Well, that's been their SSU to this point. Venom was the start of it. They haven't actually put Spider-Man in a Sony movie outside of what they've done with the MCU. Like the SSU was, they called it the Sony Spider-Man universe, but it was basically the SVU, not Special Victims Unit, but Sony Villains Universe. There should have been the SSVU or some shit like that. Because you never saw Spider-Man in any of those fucking movies. They've had 5, about to be 6, chances to actually put Spider-Man in those movies. Any of them. And they did not. So yeah, the SSU is dead. At least for a while. And he says they delayed that 3rd Spider-Verse for some reason. Yeah. Turns out that after Across the Spider-Verse, and I don't remember exactly what prompted it, but they practically started the script for Beyond the Spider-Verse from scratch. I don't know if it was like a complete 100% total rewrite, but it was an obscene amount of rewrite. So yeah, they had to finish that. Then they had to start bringing. Now they're slowly bringing people in to record their shit. But yeah, you're not going to see Beyond the Spider-Verse till 2026 at the absolute earliest. Yeah. Travis says, if they brought Johnson back as the noir version of Kraven for Spider-Man Noir, I think it could be awesome. It could definitely be interesting. Be interesting to see what better writing would do with that for sure. Griff says, thank God, Amy P. You're going to need to elaborate on that one, my friend. Matthew says, like, who wants a Black Cat movie without Spider-Man? Depends on whose Black Cat is and if it's really good. But yeah, for the most part, what's the point? Delta Dan says, think they went from 4,000 plus to 3,200. I could have heard wrong, but I'm going to grab a whiskey. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I haven't really heard too specific numbers, but I haven't really checked. I'm speaking more of, you know, a slightly more in of a generality kind of a thing. Dan also said, maybe Star Wars will catch up. Yeah, not for a while. What kind of whiskey you getting drinking, by the way? Matthew says, so they figured Spider-Man out, so Broken Clock is right twice a day, but they can't figure Ghostbusters out. Well, they only figured Spider-Man out because they had Feige. Daniel says, wife wants special time. Later, y'all. Oh, fuck yeah, bro. Make her call you chillin'. Anyway. Yeah, except for graffiti, right? Maybe says Disney needs to stop making Star Wars with no Star Wars in it. You can't slap the label on any slop and prosper, to quote another Star franchise. Yeah. Dan says, somehow Null returned 8 years later. I mean, that could be. Like, we still really haven't heard any more about Null in Spider-Man 4 other than it's possible. Like, there's been no movement on that lately. Now, I imagine, again, starting next year, we're going to get some movement. Probably not till summer, because that movie is not going to start filming till fall. Late summer, early fall, something like that. Spider-Man 4. So, we'll see. We'll start to get some good information on that shit. Just not for a minute yet, that's all. Delden says Buffalo Trace, best bang for your buck. Oh, the whiskey. I've heard of it. I've heard of Buffalo Trace. Is that like a bourbon? Is that a sour malt? I love whiskey. Mrs. Chillin and I are both fans of the whiskey. So is that like a bourbon or is that like a scotch? Is that like a sour mash? What do you got? Travis says the past 2 Ghostbusters films didn't work for me because they tried making a drama out of a comedy. Yeah, that's really hard to fucking do. And the comedy there was just jokes, where the original 2 films were intentionally dry. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's Bill Murray's humor. He's always had the dry humor. Matthew says, the worst decision they made, and I don't know if some wise person will make a retcon, they killed all the Skywalkers, and the Star Wars saga is about them. Yeah. Although, they'll say they didn't kill all of them. I mean, we know they killed all of them, but they will refuse to admit that. What do we got left here? Okay. Are we done shitting on Sony for the nonce? And also slightly congratulating them for finally making a good fucking decision? Are we ready to move on to another little tidbit? Silence is assent. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is this. Yes. Get the groans out now. Yes. I'm about to talk about fucking Warhammer. Joe Rogan turned you onto it. It's an American bourbon. I like me some bourbon. Maker's Mark is mine and Mrs. Chillin's shit right now. What's the more specialty one? There's Maker's Mark and there's Maker's Mark what? Love. Babe. Maker's Mark. What's the more smoother one that we like? 42. Thank you. Yeah, Maker's 42 is some shit. That's some stuff. That goes down nice and smooth. Woo! Yeah. But yes, I am about to talk about Warhammer, but not because I am a massive fan of the Warhammers. Like, I've watched some of Luton's videos. The lore is pretty cool, but I've never, I never played it. I never read the books or any of that shit. The reason I want to talk about this is because I am a Henry Cavill stan. And I like the fact that Henry Cavill is making or is adapting something with such an insane amount of lore in it that it's very sci-fi and also very fantasy all at the same time, and also dark as fuck. So yeah, this I find exciting. Henry Cavill says Warhammer 40,000, I'm just going to call it 40K, fuck these idiots, TV series is in a fantastic starting place. We've been breaking down approaches to the enormity of that world. And that's another thing. Henry Cavill is a motherfucking nerd. A nerd and a purist to the point where he pisses people off. See The Witcher and see he got into it with Zack Snyder as well about Man of Steel. That's just how Cavill rolls. He don't care. So if you are a massive Warhammer fan, you should be pretty fucking happy that this man is a key part of its creation. Because he will make sure that shit stays as true to the lore as possible. Faux show. Henry Cavill has offered an update on his Warhammer 40k TV show, saying the project is in a fantastic place to start our universe. It was announced in December 2022 that the former Superman actor would star in and executive produce an adaptation of the tabletop game for Amazon Prime Video, which acquired the global rights to the IP from Games Workshop. I believe this came from an IG post. To celebrate some Warhammer news, I decided to make a pilgrimage to the very first place I bought Warhammer models over 30 years ago. The little shop on my home island of Jersey. Oh, yeah, it says so right here. Cavill wrote on an Instagram alongside a black and white selfie. God damn it. My incredible team and I, alongside the brilliant minds at Games Workshop, have been working away in concept rooms, breaking down approaches to the enormity and magnificence of the Warhammer world. And its lore is motherfucking huge. We're talking hundreds of books and comics and shit. It's crazy. Cavill added, together we've been sifting through the plethora of incredible characters and poring over old tomes and texts. Our combined efforts have led us to a fantastic place to start our universe, which has been agreed upon by those up on high at both Amazon and Games Workshop. That starting place shall, for now, remain a secret. Watch this space, though. More to come in time. Said in the blah, 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 blah. Okay, Cavill's post is an indication that the series is moving forward after Amazon and Games Workshop had set a December 2024 deadline for both companies to agree on, quote, creative guidelines for the franchise, for it otherwise would have been scrapped. The same day as Cavill's Instagram post, Games Workshop posted on its investor relations site that it has reached a final agreement with Amazon for the adaptation of the Warhammer 40k universe into films and television series, together with associated merchandising rights. And as we all know, Warhammer merch sells. Production processes in respect to films and television series may take a number of years, reads the site. No shit. In a statement announcing the project in 2022, Cavill said he has loved Warhammer since he was a child. The opportunity to shepherd the cinematic universe from its inception is quite the honor and the responsibility, he said in a statement. Oh, and there's the Instagram post. That does actually look like a cool little hobby shop, though, for reals. Oh, that was it. Honor and responsibility. Okay. So, granted, we are not all like Josh. We don't all go fucking nuts at the mention of Warhammer 40k. However, I know there are plenty of us out there who dig on some Henry Cavill just as an actor and as a nerdy guy. I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan of Cavill since the show The Tudors back on HBO. I think it was HBO back in the day. But yeah, just Henry Cavill and his nerdy purism combined with an IP that is insanely full of lore. That is super dark. I just think we're going to be in for a treat. Oh, and also a good mix of sci-fi and magic as well. So you got sci-fi, you got fantasy, and then the people running it, you got Games Workshop, who is notoriously protective of its shit in the first place, for the most part. We're going to ignore a lot of those D&D failures. But yeah, all the evidence points to this is probably going to be fucking dope. So a big old dope a big old dope new, well, not new, but a new to the screens IP run basically by a massive nerd and a very anal retentive company. I think we're in for some severe nerdy goodness from this IP, which is, as he previously stated, beginning as a show on Amazon Prime. But yeah, I'm digging it. And by the way, that's only he's still got a couple projects in the can before he even gets to this, though. Let us not forget. He just began filming Netflix's Voltron movie that he's going to be in. That's going to be interesting. Because if he's nerdy enough to want to be in a Voltron movie, that means he's going to be a massive pain in the ass having to do with existing Voltron lore, yada, yada, yada. Now, I love Voltron. I loved the Voltron cartoon as a kid. I liked both the lion one and the car one, but I preferred the lion one. So I am definitely intrigued for that. After that, he's also got a Highlander movie coming up. And if you've watched even a few frames of The Witcher, you know Cavill and a sword mix really well. And on top of that, the director of that movie is one Chad Stahelski, most recently of John Wick fame. So imagine this. Henry Cavill running around with a sword, beheading motherfuckers to keep from being beheaded himself, and the action in the movie directed by Chad Stahelski. That's going to be fucking badass. Right? The only thing I'm worried about is who they're going to cast for the Kurgan. That's like my biggest worry about that movie. Because you're going to be hard-pressed to equal Clancy Brown's performance from back in the day. Holy shit. But yeah, that movie's going to be sick. And then probably when he's done filming on that, or, you know, when production is wrapped on that, I'm sure his next step is going to be jumping right in to getting Warhammer 40K off the ground and going. So, setting aside the name of the IP, what do you guys think about Henry Cavill bringing to life a humongous IP full of all kinds of nerdy goodness, from sci-fi to fantasy to magic, interplanetary battle, all that kind of shit? How do you guys feeling about the prospect of a show like that, regardless of the fact that it's called Warhammer, or will be associated with Warhammer? What you think, chat? Let me get caught up here. Okay, got that one. Brooke says, excited for Warhammer. They got Amazon's backing too, so optimistic about the Warhammer live-action show. Oh, yeah. Dan says it's smooth and only like $20-25. Oh, what was that shit called? Buffalo Trace. Remember Buffalo Trace, my love. Affordable bourbon that is smooth, according to Delta Dan. Brooke says, Warhammer lore is so cool with all the humanity, Necrons, Tyranids, Orcs, etc. Oh, yeah, all kinds of fun critters in there. Dan says, Makers 42 is fire. Oh, yes. Brooke adds, and freaky tech. Brooke goes on to say, Henry Cavill going to be a Space Marine soon. I think Josh is probably onto something with him being that Valdor guy, especially with that clip of him bringing it up. So he's going to be, is Valdor a Primarch or a Custody? I don't know, but he'll be one of those. I don't think he's going to be, dare I say, just a Space Marine. Rick says, Warhammer 40K is like the darkest IP out there. I mean, it's pretty fucking dark. For sure. Matthew says, I still wonder why they never made a second Man from U.N.C.L.E. with Cavill or a third Sherlock Holmes with Downey. I never saw the first Man from U.N.C.L.E. I heard good things. Now, I loved the Sherlock Holmes movies that Downey and Jude Law did. The second one, unfortunately, didn't perform anywhere near as well as the first one, if I recall correctly. So, yeah, that's the quickest way to not be able to finish a trilogy. When did that come out? Downey might have been starting to get involved with the MCU right around then, too, honestly. I don't know. I'd have to go check. If any of you are feeling frisky and wants to let me know when Sherlock Holmes 2 Game of Shadows came out, that would be great. Delta Dan says, Cavill is that guy. Oh, he most definitely is that guy. Like I said, I've been a fan of his from when he was on the Tudors, and that's like early 2000s, or, you know, right around 2010. So, before he was in the nerdy IP that we love, I've been a fan of his just because that motherfucker is that good of an actor. Like, let's not forget that. He can bring it just with his character work. So we got to add that into the mix as well. Delta Dan says he should just be the emperor. Not that I know much about the lore, but he should be at the center, right? Well, the problem is the emperor is basically a corpse strapped to a throne that is providing that is used to provide the energy to keep the corpse alive. The emperor's, if I recall correctly, the emperor's soul is trapped in the warp, and he's fighting a shit ton of chaos demons constantly to keep them from breaking into the Warhammer reality. I think that's what it is. Brooke says, honestly, I would love if Cavill gets the role as the Emperor. I mean, they could go back in time before the Emperor, before the Emperor's battle with Horus that put him in his current state for sure. But I don't know if this is just my opinion. This is just pure more. You know, this is just from my brain. I've read nothing. I've heard nothing. But in my opinion, I don't know that Henry's going to start off far back. I think he's going to want to start kind of where people are used to playing now. You know what I mean? And then kind of go back and fill in later. That's kind of that's just how I feel. So, I mean, we'll see though. That's just, like I said, that's just my opinion, but I don't think he's going to start in the way back. Brooke says, yeah, the Emperor of Mankind in Warhammer is something else entirely. Yeah. That he is. Delta Dan wants to know when the next 40K class is. Says, I'm looking forward to Josh and Nerd of the Rings podcast. I need help. I mean, yeah, that'll be fun. I've never watched Nerd of the Rings videos. Is he entertaining? Is that going to actually be like a good combo? And he says, I thought he was the Highlander. Oh, he is. I still don't see how you replace Chris Lambert, but it's been a million years since the first film. I think that's helping a lot. Like, it's been... We're right around 40 years. I can't remember exactly when it came out. I feel like it's more mid to late 80s than early to mid 80s, but I cannot remember for sure. But yeah, it's been a long time. I think it's been plenty long enough for... I mean, essentially, bringing the Highlander back now, we're like 2 generations past ours that, you know about it from back in the day. You know what I mean? So, and on top of that, again, Cavill is a stickler for lore, so he ain't going to fuck around and, like, do a lot of premise changing with... the Lambert version we're all used to. Setting aside Highlander 2. That shit was stupid as fuck. But, yeah. Let's see here. Y'all talking about Luton's videos. Whoops. I hate it when I do that. Okay, yeah, I got that one. Matthew says, Amazon is also making Mass Effect. I'm going to be pissed if they mess it up. Yeah, Mass Effect. Again, not a big gamer, but I talk to plenty, and Mass Effect, from what I understand, is massive, popular, And yeah, it's definitely got lore that you do not want to fuck around with. Brooks says, I'll check out Voltron sometime. Yeah, I don't, like I said, they're either just about to start filming or they just recently started filming. So we're not going to see that for probably till end of 2025, I would guess, since it's Netflix. The turnaround for Netflix movies isn't generally as fast as it is for, or as slow as it is for Hollywood films, like regular Hollywood features that go to the theater. You know what I mean? Isn't Cavill also a father now? I think maybe, but I'm not sure. Brooks says, I think this could propel Warhammer to new highs. Oh, there's a shit ton of potential there. I don't know if there's quite as much potential as Josh seems to think there is. I think he's, when it comes to Warhammer, he gets a bit glazy. Let's be real. Love the guy, but he gets a little glazy when it comes to Warhammer. Like, real talk. But yeah, Warhammer could definitely become a very significant IP if they do it right. Come on, mouse. About time to charge this motherfucker. Brooks says, to be honest, news about Warhammer show, best news I've heard all week. We'll see about that. Brooks says, I think Dune can get quite dark too. Still got to explore it more. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Horus Heresy. Diane says, LOL, I take it back then. I'll buy Cavill being the Emperor? Yeah. Brooks says, I think in the beginning, there's the war in the heavens waged between the Old Ones and the Necrons. The Old Ones are the original creators of the universe, and the Necrons wanted immortality from the Old Ones. But the Old Ones refused to help, and so they had a huge war or something. Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch some more Luton. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to charge this fucking mouse. This thing's pissing me off now. God damn it. Oh, okay. No, we're good. Brooks has never watched Nerd of the Rings videos, but I've heard they're good. Yeah, I've heard good things about them. C-Dub! How's it going, man? Says, what up, y'all? Been gone a few days. Started a new job. Ah, nice! Way to go, bro. Happy for you. How is it? Do you like the new job? Brooks says, yeah, with Amazon's financial prowess and Cavill's action chops and passion for lore, the show should be a hit, in my opinion, for Warhammer. Yeah, I totally agree. Matthew says, Raiden in Mortal Kombat, Lambert, awesome. Then they made that awful sequel without him. I wouldn't go so far as to say awful, but it definitely was not as good as the first one. Delta Dan says, Cavill would have saved Witcher. I loved those books and games. Yeah, if he'd have been running it, he'd probably still be making that show. Honestly. Brooks says, I still got to finish up the Mass Effect games. Yeah, I've never played them. But, again, I've heard a ton of good things about them, for sure. Delta Dan says, Josh on Cloud 9. Oh, yeah, he's at full attention. Brooks says, Warhammer show should definitely increase the revenue of Amazon Prime significantly if successful. It'll help. Matthew says, I don't know about tabletop games, but video games often make bad movies and shows, if not always. Yeah, well, a lot of the time is because they, the people that do those movies and shows take way too many liberties with what's been established in said video games. Now take Fallout. They honored the game, and that show kicked ass. 16 Emmy nominations. Fallout was a fucking hit, right? There's a video game movie or show. But they honored the game. They didn't just go, oh, hey, here's this cool game, but here's what I want to do with it. You know? KK. But yeah, so generally when video game adaptations fail, it's because they took too many liberties with what was established in the game. But yeah, I'm hyped for a Cavill-led project that is nerdy. Basically, that's I'll put it that. If it since it's Warhammer, cool. Do I care much that it's Warhammer? No, but like I said, the Warhammer lore sounds dope. Um, and a massive nerd about it is the perfect person to be significant in the creative process. No, I didn't watch Fallout yet, Griff. I'm still a failure on that. I've just, I know what I've read. And everything I've read says that show was fucking massive. It got all those Emmy noms, so Matthew says everyone hates Minecraft. That's all I hear about. Yeah, that does not look good. Does not look good at all. No, Dan, that doesn't apply this time. No need to bring Trey and Matt into this one. Unless it's part of lore, in which case Cavill will put that shit in there, which is fine. I mean, Agatha and Rio, case closed. Okay. C-Dub. It's corporate title licensing, setting up small to large businesses, their titles, licensing, and tax structure. Finally, something I can use my MBA for. Yeah? Damn, I didn't know you had a full MBA, bro. I'm glad you get to use it, because I know that shit's expensive, because that M means is master's. That's a lot of fucking school. So good on you, brother. I'm glad to hear it. I'm happy for you. Do you like it? That's the key. Do you like it? Does it bring you some measure of satisfaction? A lot of LLCs, S Corp, C Corp working agreements. Well, I know what an LLC is. Probably what Josh has right now. I'll bet you the Den of Nerds is an LLC. It's a good way to keep your business shit from fucking up your personal shit. That's for sure. We got to remember to ask Josh that at some point in like a member stream or something. I don't know if he'd want to talk about that much nitty gritty on a regular one. That'd be interesting to see if the Den of Nerds is a true LLC now, especially since he's doing in-video ads. Which, by the way, I don't know if y'all watched his video and saw the ad. This is going to sound a little glazy, but honestly, that's probably the best in-video ad I've seen. I thought it was hilarious he included home footage. Like, honestly, that shit killed me. Delta Dan says, I don't like my job that much, but it pays the bills. I mean, yeah, I feel that. Speaking from experience, there comes a point where a job that's sufficiently paying the bills is not enough. I just tell you that from experience. Yeah, the Factor ad. Brooke says, my job is all right. It pays decently, so can't complain too much. Well, I mean, at least you think it's all right. That's a bonus. That's on the positive side. Like, I love my job. Some of the clientele, of course, because we're dealing with the general public, is stupid as fuck, but that's okay. Lou's back. Hey-o, what's going on, man? Thanks for returning. Your job sucks. Ugh, I hate that. Sorry to hear that, bro. Yeah, C-Dub did used to do IT. Someday he's going to build me a computer. C-Dub says, do I like it? It's pretty boring, but it pays well and is stable. We have a lot of high-end clients. Had to sign an NDA and have a federal government background check. Damn, an NDA? Wow. Well, be very careful what you type then, sir. Matthew says, I'm still dealing with people telling me inflation isn't real, and then I look at my grocery bill. What motherfucking idiot is saying inflation isn't real? You glitched me with that one. Okay. Ugh. Anyway, Lou says, I'm about to be on the hunt like Kraven for a new one. Yeah, if you hate your job, you need to get the fuck out of there. Even if you have to take a little less money for a minute. Trust me. Brooke says, one of my friends has a similar job to C-Dub's. Apparently his employer does contracts with defense contractors and whatnot. Oh, shit. Yeah, there's good money in defense, that's for sure. Delta Dan says, I'm almost 40 and I make good money. It's hard on my body because it's construction. I used to work at the corporate office for Comcast, but it all got outsourced and I still make more now. Oh, that's cool. But speaking from the future, when you get to be about 47, 48, 49, if you think it's hard on your body now, just fucking wait. The difference between 40 and 47 or so is annoyingly large. Brooks says, yeah, inflation is pretty bad. Yep. The media political hacks, yeah. I ignore those hacks, so I forget they exist and say stupid shit like that. But yeah, hacks is a very appropriate term. Brooks says, I mean, $1 million is still a ton of money, but not as much as it was in the 90s. It's not as much as it was in 2012. Like, real talk. Jacob says, yes, I used to work in IT. I have a comp sci business marketing undergrad and an MBA. Well, I feel insignificant now. How about you guys? God damn. I mean, I always knew I was lazy, but fuck. Did you have a life in your 20s, C-Dub, at all? I just got to know. Brooks says, it's crazy how a lot of jobs have managed to be remote since COVID, but I think many businesses want their workers to go back to the office. They do. They do. Jon Snow, what's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by, bro. I appreciate it. Says, got night shift tonight. Wish me luck. Good luck, sir. Dan says, if I'm not at office by soon, I'm switching jobs. Yeah, I finally got my office job at a desk on a computer in a very nicely climate-controlled environment, and I am happy. And he says, how about the difference between 30 and 46 feels like the world on your shoulders if you don't go to the gym and stay in peak form? I would say that's accurate. I would say that's accurate. Dildan says, my 6-year-old daughter keeps telling me to work from home. She's already smarter than me. Could be. Could have yourself a Francis Richards instead of a Franklin. Or actually, no. Franklin's the reality warper. You could have a little Valeria on your hands, bro. She's the one who got the genius from Reed. CW says, I still do IT, consulting, and build custom computers and network infrastructure for private clients. Jesus Christ, bro. Brooke says, speaking of IT, anyone have thoughts about Google's new quantum chip? I didn't know they had a quantum chip. Like, is it a real, actual quantum chip, or are they just calling it a quantum chip because it's, like, really, really high performing? Because I only ask that because of one of Neil deGrasse Tyson's videos I watched where he had, I can't remember the dude's name, but he's like a super famous physicist from Japan. But yeah, quantum isn't really in the state of a actual chip yet, if I recall correctly. But I gotta look that shit up now for sure. See it. Oh yes. No, I was married to my ex-wife and sober from 24 to 29. It all sucked. I was a VP of my family's aerospace machine shop at 24. Oh shit! Aerospace machine shop. God damn. No life. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. Brooke says, yeah, it's a pretty high-performing chip. Was a pretty big breakthrough in quantum computing. Well, now. If they get quantum computing going, guess what's after quantum computing? Thoughts, chat? What do you think immediately follows quantum computing? Yeah, quantum computing is different from regular computing. Basically, regular computers operate in terms of ones and zeros. Yep. But quantum computers can be both 1 and 0 at the same time. Yeah, that makes them insanely powerful. And when quantum computers are running full bore, guess what's next, folks? AGI. When we can quantum compute, that's when we actually get the real Skynet. We're still safe now because modern processors can't handle what an AGI equivalent to actual conscious thought is. Quantum computers can, though. Excuse me. Exactly, Skynet. Oh, you sent the blog post from Google? Cool. Put it in the Discord, would you? But, yeah. Matthew says, I don't work on computers, but my nephew and cousin do. Computer science degree overqualified. I think they have their masters. For IT, it's a bit much. Yeah. Delta Dan says, I've already applied with my union for inspector classes. I'm number 2 on the list. Nice. If I pass this class, I'll just have to approve people's work for an hour and then fill out paperwork the rest of the day. Oh, that's sick. CW says, quantum computers are barely a newborn right now. That is true. Oh, you put that in Discord. Thanks, Brooke. Yeah, that is true. They're definitely in their infancy for sure. But even once they hit toddlerhood, it's going to get very interesting. Matthew says, my nephew is 24 and makes over $100,000 a year. I was like, you're shitting me. I don't know if he's shitting you, but he's kind of shitting on you and the rest of us. God damn, 24 and already making $100K, over $100K a year. Holy shit, was I lazy back in the day. Cito says, what they can do already is way smarter than any human has ever been, and it just started. Exactly. Exactly. Jon Snow says, I'm over here taking online classes for years. I mean, yeah, you may be taking online classes for years, but you're still getting it done. And that's the important part, Mr. Jon Snow. That's the important part. Brooks says, yeah, AI is the biggest thing of the future. Some people say whichever country dominates AI will rule the world. Well, if it gets to the point where quantum computing gives us AGI, then the AGI will be ruling the world. It will not be us. Delta Dan says, you know what sucks is 100K ain't shit in California. I mean, true. Yeah, cost of living in California is fucking ridiculous. Goddamn ridiculous. Or goddamn ridiculous it is. Who says, fuck, I'm doing IT. I mean, yeah. I mean, even if you just go get like there's, you know, those specialty schools or whatever, you can at least get like your basic certification or whatever, get your foot in the door. C-Dub says 100K a year isn't as much as you might think, especially in certain cities and states. Oh, yeah, no, that's for sure. 100K in shit probably on the coasts. Well, probably ain't shit in Cali. Probably ain't shit in New England. Florida, Georgia. Now, when you get into like the flyover states and the Midwest, you can do something with 100K. You can do something with 100K where I live. Brooke says, never too late. One of my coworkers is a high school dropout, and he learned coding in his 30s and managed to get a job at my workplace. Yeah, for sure. Delta Dan says, I made way more than that last year and still felt almost poor. That sucks. It really blows. Holy shit. Brooks says the scary part of AI is how it's being rapidly integrated into the world's militaries. I mean, it's interesting, but terrifying. Yeah, it's almost like no one watched Terminator. Isn't it? The reason the AI was able to fucking, like, nuke the world is because we had been integrating it into the fucking military. So, yeah. C-Dub says 100K a year in Frisco, LA, New York, Chicago. Barely enough for a 2-bedroom apartment in a safe neighborhood. Yep, for sure. But 100K a year in Michigan goes a pretty decent way. I can tell you that much. Delta Dan says, do it, Lou. Hell yeah. Kevin, what's going on? Thanks for coming by. Kevin says, Star Wars Skeleton Crew, pretty good show. C+. I'd give it a B+ personally, but yeah. Dan says, yeah, I'm in the Bay Area, C-Dub. Bay Area. I love me 40 and fucking... And, of course, I'm going to brain fart too short. Glorilla. Bay Area. Yeah. Brooke says, well, 100K is a lot, but then there's taxes, too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're talking a gross income, not net. Kevin says, James Gunn needs to stop talking to fans and let his work speak for himself. Yeah, those are some pretty true-ass words there, Kevin. Matthew says, well, yeah, I'm someone who barely finished high school, liberal arts major, never finished community college. I've read way too much, and it's not necessary for the jobs I've had. Yeah. I went to a very, very small school. Like, my graduating class is 49, but I graduated valedictorian. Unfortunately, I was also way behind from an emotional perspective. And so I chose a college, an engineering college. I went to Michigan Tech, which happened to be a good 8-hour drive from home. Still in state. I just went from let's see, Hereish to Hereish. Yeah. 8.5, 9 hours in state. But yeah, so I went all the way up there, found freedom, and just kind of hung out at school. Didn't really fucking do much there. Anyway, so yeah. C-Dub says 100K here in St. Louis is workable. Own a decent house and can raise a family. Yeah, St. Louis isn't too bad. Brooke says, I think James Gunn did a good job with Creature Commandos so far. Yeah, I liked Creature Commandos. I wasn't expecting to like it, but I like it. Yeah, we got some landmass. We got some landmass up here. All right, chat. It is time that I go empty the bladder, grab another drink, and then when I get back, we're getting into the juice. We're getting into the tea. We're getting into some severely hype fucking Marvel shit. All right? All right. I'll be back in a bit. Don't leave. Hit the buttons while I'm gone. And we're back, y'all. What's going on, chat? Lou says it's fucking -4 outside here in Minnesota right now. Well, yeah, it's because, you know, there's you and then there's Canada, so you get all the cold air. May says, Excuse me. Matthew says, I used to do my brother's homework for him. The only thing I flunked at was math and geography. I was honors level English, classics, and poetry. Nice. John Snow says, let's go. Brooke says, Evil Captain America sounds dope. And the idea of Doom assembling a team. It does. Delta Dan says, I got offered a job making Bay Area union wages if I moved to Atlanta for 6 years. I could have been balling out there. Keep telling my wife we could have lived large out there. Yeah. Jon Snow says, I'm just hyped for Doom. Oh, compared to how expensive California is? Yeah. Jon Snow says, Atlanta is fun. Live there for a bit. Cool. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Nerds, are you ready for the hype shit? Because Ermagerd. From the Hollywood Reporter, Chris Evans returning to Marvel for Avengers Doomsday. He was a cornerstone of the Marvel Cinematic Universe before retiring the role of Captain America with Avengers Endgame by Aaron Couch and Boris Kitt. And Boris Kitt is peak, just so y'all know. Dude is very, very good at his job. After appearing in Deadpool and Wolverine, Chris Evans is dipping back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe once again for Avengers Doomsday, the Hollywood Reporter has confirmed. Evans' longtime collaborators, the Russo brothers, who directed Evans in 4 films, are directing, with Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom. The film has a release date of May 1st, 2026. The actor played Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, in Deadpool and Wolverine, reprising his role from a pair of Fantastic Four movies made by Fox in the 2000s. But he was best known for playing Steve Rogers, Captain America, in the MCU, where he was a cornerstone of the universe. Fucking facts. It is unclear in what capacity Evans would return or what role he would play, Storm or Rogers, as the new Marvel feature project once again deals with multiple timelines and universes and is expected to reunite many actors from the previous films as well as current ones, i.e. Fantastic Four. Evans retired from the role of Captain America with 2019's Avengers Endgame, which ended with Steve Rogers traveling to the past to spend his life with his love, Peggy Carter, played by Haley Atwell. Rogers lived decades in anonymity, returning to the present to pass on the Captain America shield to friend Sam Wilson, whose first turn in the cinema as a full-on Captain America is in 2 months. Think about that, folks. Only 2 months from Cap 4. He originated the blah, blah, blah. We already know everything he's been in. In 2023, he told GQ he was open to a return if it felt right. Said the actor, I wouldn't want the black eye if it felt like a cash grab, or if it didn't live up to expectations, or if it just felt like it wasn't connected to that original thing. Blah, blah, blah. Evans first cast March 2010 after turning down the role multiple times. Wow. Good thing he changed his mind. Being out actors such as John Krasinski, Garrett Hedlund. Wow, John Krasinski could have been Captain America? That I don't know about that. I do not know about that one. And the last day of filming, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, Evans is back. And we just lately heard that Benedict Cumberbatch is back. Well, we knew he wasn't going away, but we did not know that either of them would for sure be in Doomsday until just now. Now, it was always more like it was Doctor Strange being in Doomsday isn't really kind of a surprise. It's just, the confirmation is nice. Now, as for if and or when we're getting a Doc Strange 3, who the fuck knows? I mean, we are getting a Doc Strange 3, but when is the big question? It's obviously not going to be in time to be in front of Doomsday and start the time runs out thing like it was widely thought that was going to happen. So that ain't going to be it. Doc Strange 3 ain't going to be time runs out. So at least for me, that tells me that Time Runs Out is probably going to be the A plot for Doomsday, or however Feige decides to handle Time Runs Out. And I'm still 90+% positive that the B plot is where they're going to finish up Children's Crusade. That's what I think, based on everything I've heard and other people's thoughts and what I thought of their thoughts. So that's what I think about what's going to happen with Cumberbatch. Doc Strange 3 is definitely not coming before Doomsday. It's like they would have had to announce it already, and it would have to have started filming probably already. So we ain't getting Doc Strange 3 in that February 2026 time slot. I'm honestly starting to wonder if we're going to get anything in that time slot. But that's kind of beside the point. But I would say, at least so far as Doc Strange goes, it looks like we're Doc Strange 3 ain't going to be the February movie, which means they're going to have to do a lot of time runs out stuff in Doomsday. Which I always thought they were at least going to do a fair chunk of it. I just thought it'd kind of be split between Doc Strange 3 and Doomsday, but not so much, it would seem. But that is dope that Strange is confirmed for Doomsday, because that helps it line up with the amount of Hickman-ness we thought we'd be getting in these upcoming movies, right? So, but back to the Evans of it all. Now, obviously, again, we all figured there's no way Evans wasn't coming back, right? Like we figured that. Him coming back was a given, pretty much. But as has been pointed out, no, Dan, not Joe Biden, Steve Rogers, Jesus fucking Christ. But as has been pointed out by others already, I freely admit, we all thought that was just for Secret Wars, right? That was the given. Of course he's going to come back in Secret Wars. This is the first time we've heard anything about him being in Doomsday. That is fucking significant. And that opens up a whole fuck ton of possibilities, especially when you add in some of the older rumors that have been out there for a hot minute. I mean, let's think about it. What is the most likely scenario for Chris Evans' return? Let's, one is he could be yet another variant of Johnny Storm, because obviously the last one he played got skinned. So he won't be that one. But could he be playing yet another multiversal variant of Johnny Storm? It is possible. I personally do not consider it likely at all. I give it that much of a chance that he's coming back as Johnny Storm. But it's not impossible, but no. That ain't happening. He is definitely coming back as some version of Captain America. So what versions are out there? Well, they could bring him back as original Steve. Or at least a variant that's damn close to original Steve. They could be bringing him back as Nomad, but there's scuttlebutt out there that that's going to be a show. So what's that leave? If he's not coming back as Nomad, because that's supposed to be a show, and if he's not coming back as regular Cap, because that would basically invalidate literally everything that they did in Cap 4. Like, for reals, if he came back and took the shield back from Sam Wilson, then why the fuck they even make Cap 4? So I don't really see that happening. So what's left? I'll tell you. As controversial as the character was in the comics, as divisive as he was, their best option is Hydra Cap. And there are rumors and reports that lean that direction as well. Alex Perez has brought up multiple times the idea of the MCU adapting some sort of version of the Masters of Evil and or the Cabal. Right? He's talked about this. And he's talked about specifically bringing back the OG Avengers in evil form working for Doom. And them being Doom's minions that he sends out. Basically like Infinity War. Right? How Thanos sent out Ebony Maw and that big fucker, and then the chick and that other fucker to Europe for Vision and Scarlet Witch, and then the other two were in New York. I'm pretty sure this is going to play out in a pretty similar manner. Doom is... What up, Prez? Hell yeah, I'm still going. We're just getting into like the real goods. Where was I? Yeah, I think we're going to see a very similar scenario play out. I mean, really, how many different ways can you do that kind of shit? Honestly. They're just going to have to make it dope in its own way. Right? But yeah, so the idea of Doom sending his minions to battle with various Earthbound Avengers is kind of a long-standing rumor/report. Said minions being evil versions of the OG Avengers is much more recent, but that's been talked about. I mean, think about what we're talking about. What makes the most sense? Some kind of adaptation of the multiversal Masters of Evil working for Doom makes a whole fuck ton of sense. And since we're talking about evil, we're talking Hydra Cap. We're talking Maestro Hulk. Maybe, oh no, we said the original 6 OG. Maybe a superior Iron Man. And we get, if Josh's theory is true, that superior Iron Man would not be played by RDJ. We'd have a different actor. Because remember, Josh's theory is that RDJ was, or that 616 Tony Stark is a Doom variant, which means an actual Tony Stark variant would look different, probably. Know what I mean? So we're talking Maestro Hulk, who's been talked about before in other reports. Hydra Cap, who hasn't really been talked about, but it's looking like that's probably how they're going to go, at least in my mind. We're talking superior Iron Man, the most dickish form of Tony that I am aware of in comics. Potentially even played by not RDJ. If they use that character, I can totally see them hiring a different character. If, like I said, if Josh is correct. Okay? Who does that leave? An evil Hawkeye, an evil Scarlet Witch. Who do I keep forgetting? Cap, Iron... Oh, and some evil version of Thor. I mean, I'm pretty sure somewhere in Marvel continuity an evil version of all of them exist. If not, well, you know Feige, he'll just fucking do it. So just imagine it. You got Doom coming rolling into Earth. And we're like, oh fuck. Or actually more accurate. Yeah, Doom comes rolling in, but then next thing you know, popping out of whatever conveyance that they decide to use for Doom, we see what looks like the OG Avengers popping out. We're like, what? And then next thing you notice that the Hulk has a big old white beard. Cap's uniform is a little dark looking, and the logos are not quite right. I have no idea how evil versions you got someone flying down in some really dope looking Iron Man armor, but it's not the Iron Man armor we're all used to. It doesn't have a head covering, doesn't have a face covering. Well, not solid metal ones anyway. It's energy barriers, if I recall correctly. Um, and then evil versions of Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, and Thor as well. And then imagine them like, three of them go one way, three the other. Maybe they pair off, got three groups to go smash on the current 616 roster of Avengers. I mean, doesn't that just make the most sense when you combine all the reports together? The fact that he's coming back for Doomsday. That's the clincher right there. Because of how well him being in Doomsday helps all these other reports come together. Does that make sense? Are you following me? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I think, again, when you throw all the shit out there that's together, plus the fact that it's now Doomsday and not just Secret Wars he's going to be in, and given the fact that Doomsday is basically going to be the process of Doom taking over or doing what he needs to do to put himself in a position to take over. And since they're probably not going to, I mean, if this is Doom in the comics, he would have a lot of minions. He'd have Doombots out. He obviously would have the oh shit, what are those bitches called? Is it Dark Angels? Or am I still on Warhammer on that one? Anyway, he had his minions. But yeah, so Doom's going to have minions of some kind. And again, long-standing reports that they have been wanting to bring back the OG Avengers in some fashion or another. What better way to make them an evil version of the OG Avengers? I mean, obviously, just the fact that RDJ is playing Doom, it's obvious that like screwing with our heroes' minds is a big part of their plan, right? You got Tom Holland, he's gonna be fighting Doom, and then however it's gonna happen, he's gonna see that Doom has Tony Stark's face, his mentor's face, and he's gonna lose the shit, right? So imagine similar scenarios playing out around the world in Doomsday. Sam Wilson coming face to face with Hydra Cap. Pew Pew coming face to face with evil Scarlet Witch. Or not Scarlet Witch, but evil Black Widow. Hawkeye running into a version of himself that's basically psychotic like his brother. Who else is there that's on the actual current team? Can you Professor Hulk v Maestro Hulk maybe? And then of course you got evil Thor just smashing everybody probably. So yeah, it's going to be again, I think once you put all the goods together, take this tidbit here, take this. Basically, we're basically doing what Doom did in the Hickman Secret Wars. We're taking chunk of report here, 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 smashing it all together, and getting Hydra Cap and some version of the multiversal Masters of Evil. Yeah. Now, how fucking hype would that be? Just imagine. Like, well, first of all, imagine the reaction when people see the faces of the OG Avengers. Forget what they're wearing at the time. People are just going to see the faces first, right? And they'll be like, fuck yeah! And then they'll start to realize, huh? That don't look right. That don't look right. That don't look right. And then they get into action and you're like, oh, fuck. And again, it's not just going to be, it's not going to be like Infinity War where it was, people they'd never seen before and who are obviously douchebags like Ebony Maw and, the rest of them, right? This is going to be the people that, or at least people that look like the people that fucking saved New York, that mostly saved Sokovia, and that ultimately ended up defeating Thanos after not doing so and the snap happening. So just imagine this, and just think about, this is just from the general public's perspective, right? Like, they all know who the Avengers are, / were. Imagine their reaction be like, holy shit, they're back. What the fuck are they doing? And that's just the general public. Imagine how the 616 current roster of Avengers is going to feel to see all the people that they've been looking up to, some more than others, but, the team coming on down, working for Doom, and fucking shit up. I got 2 words for that. And especially, again, when it comes to Holland and RDJ Doom. They are cooking up a lot of emotional damage. They are totally going for that shit. They want to fuck with the 616 Avengers minds. They want to fuck with the general populace of Earth's minds. And they want to fuck with ours. Or at least the normies' minds. Right? That is a massive fucking draw. Huge draw. For those outside the space who aren't keeping super close track of this stuff the way we do, just imagine how a normie would feel. Like the last time they saw Tony Stark, he had just sacrificed himself in Endgame. And now here comes some motherfucker in green and steel just tearing shit up, and he's got Tony Stark's face. And that's just from our perspective. Again, imagine Tom Holland's Spider-Man's perspective on that shit. To him, it'd basically be like Tony dying all over again. Right? Something like that. Last time Hawkeye saw Black Widow was when she dropped to her death on Vormir. Imagine him not only being like, holy shit, Natasha. And then next thing you know, Natasha's trying to gut him. Situation after situation like that. Characters having an initial sense of, sweet, the OGs are back, it's time to kick some ass. And then they recognize what's going on and realize they won't be kicking ass, they will be getting their asses kicked by people who have the faces of their idols and mentors and heroes. Like, seriously, how many more things out there could be more compelling than that? Right? I mean, there's so much opportunity there to delve into not just a bunch of nerdy deep cut shit or just a bunch of badass nerdy shit, but to actually get into like Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame level of fucking character shit. Because you think about it, there's the Russos are obviously well known for their action. Okay, like they put together some goddamn good action in their 4 previous MCU features for sure. But every damn one of those features also had a fuck ton of emotional energy happening between characters all over the place. I mean, just think about Infinity War. Natasha, or Wanda and Vision, right? Tony and Peter, and Doctor Strange. Of course, the Guardians and their whole clique. Um, Thor, just in general, trying to recover from the beginning of Infinity War. There was a lot of emotional, solid, deep character shit happening in all of those movies. Every single one of them. Winter Soldier, Steve and Bucky. Civil War, Steve versus Tony. And then, like Infinity War and Endgame. I mean, we're not talking just dope Russo action. We're talking some serious, compelling character shit here, too. And again, the best way I think to achieve that level of depth and emotional damage is to have evil wearing the faces of your heroes. So yeah, I think we're getting fucking Hydra Cap. I think we're getting Maestro Hulk. I think we're getting evil versions of the OGs. All of them. Now, if they decide not to bring back an evil Iron Man and not fuck around with that, I will totally get it, and I won't be mad at all. I understand the decision completely if that's the one they make. We might just get 5. But I am firmly convinced it's happening. To me, that just makes them... God damn it. Sudden ear itch. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. But to me, that makes the most sense out of anything they could do. That's just where I'm at with it. What do you guys think? You think they'll go the route I'm proposing? Think they'll do something a bit different? I mean, just bring it specifically back to Chris Evans, right? I mean, forget the rest. Let's just bring it back to Chris Evans. How are they going to bring back whatever version of... Well, first of all, which version of Steve Rogers are they bringing back? And what are they going to do with him? Cool. What do you guys think? Let me scroll up so I can see what you've been thinking. Matthew says Boston has to be more lively than where I live. Basically here it's nothing but old people eating at the clam box. Townies in a bedroom community. What are you from? You live in New England, Matthew? You've probably told me. Del Dan says, let's get nerdy. Oh, I've been trying. I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Chris says, I'm betting he'll be Hydra Cap. Again, I think that makes the most sense. Jon Snow says, Krasinski deserved better in the MCU. You mean other than, 5 minutes of screen time and then getting spaghettified? Yeah, I would say so. Delta Dan thinks he's going to be a Doom minion. Matthew says, will he be a minion of Doctor Doom that would kind of be a waste, or the old Steve or young Steve? If he comes back as a minion of Doctor Doom, Hydra Cap, he's going to be Hydra Cap through Secret Wars. He's not going to be just in Doomsday. Now, it is entirely possible that they're going to work the fuck out of him, and he's going to be Hydra Cap in Doomsday and Secret Wars, Nomad in the TV show, and then Nomad again in Secret Wars as well. It's possible. I don't know if they'll do that. I don't know if Chris Evans would be down for that, but I can definitely see a scenario where that happens. But yeah, so far as Doomsday is concerned, again, there are other ways they could handle it, but to me, this makes the most sense on a few levels. Lou says definitely not. Delta Dan says Joe Biden, Steve Rogers. We already had him. I think we're done with that version now. Brooke thinks he's going to play Hydra Cap. And he says Victor, though, not a Tony Stark alt evil Iron Man. Well, again, going off Josh's theory, which again, I think makes the most sense story-wise. No, it would be a true variant of the actual Tony Stark if they go that route. Matthew said, where are we at? Oh, yeah. Man, it says Tom Cruise. No, they will get him. And then he comes back with not possible. Disney can't afford him after paying RDJ $200 million. It was $100 million, wasn't it? 50 mil per movie allegedly, but it's kind of spread out amongst like 4 or 5 now. But yeah. Backing up the Brinks truck for Tom Cruise after they already did for RDJ year, I agree that's probably not something they're going to do. I think they would get someone. They honestly, with all the rest of the star power in this shit, it would not surprise me if they go that route to hire someone more on the unknown side of Hollywood rather than like another fucking big name. You know what I mean? Brooke says, Evil Thor. Wonder what that would be like. May need to look into the comics version of it. Yeah, that'd be dope. Oh, here we go. Brooke says, there's an evil version of Thor in the comics called Thorer, Thor with 2 R's. And in the comics, there's a group called the Tyrant Avengers. Basically, evil versions of the regular 6 Avengers in the comics. Oh, well, there we go. I'm not sure what run the Tyrant Avengers come from or if they're Ultimates Universe or what, but I don't know if y'all have realized this, but Feige has yet to do anything remotely close to a 1-to-1 adaptation of any fucking thing. So if he wants to use the Tyrant Avengers and turn them into Doom's minions, he goddamn fucking will do it. That's what he wants to do. They'll fucking do it. Matthew says Loki would probably be Evil Thor unless they have another non-Hemsworth. No, Evil Thor is going to be Hemsworth. Loki's a little bit busy in Yggdrasil right now, holding the multiverse together. At least till close to the end of Doomsday, when Doom comes in and spanks him and takes his power. Brooks says this group of the evil version of the Avengers could be the strongest villains of the MCU yet. I mean, they'd be up there. I mean, Thanos was goddamn powerful. And that's not even the most powerful version of Thanos that exists in the multiverse. There's another version that we have long suspected we're going to get in the form of King Thanos. So, but yeah, they could definitely be up there. I mean, think about it. We're talking the Avengers with all their knowledge, skills, and powers minus the conscience we're used to. Talking some seriously nasty shit there. Matthew says Nick Fury had contingency for the Avengers going rogue. True, and they could actually make that a part of how they end up defeating them in the end for sure. Nick Fury could be like, oh hey, I've been holding this in reserve here. They could stumble across it on their own. But yeah, they could definitely. I could see them working that in now that you bring that up. Matthew says Scarlett will come back. I thought she had a falling out with Disney over the Black Widow movie, and she is in Jurassic Park World. Yeah, she's in Jurassic World, the newest one. However, she does also have a production deal with Marvel. That Blonde Bombshell show or whatever, I think is still kind of her pet project. I don't know what it's going to end up being, but she's still involved. She's still involved with Disney and with Marvel Studios. It's behind the camera currently, but she is already there. So don't be shocked to see a very, very evil version of Natasha Romanoff hit the screens in May 2026. Brooke says, isn't Superior Iron Man's armor symbiote powered? Nonetheless, would love to see Tom Cruise as Superior Iron Man. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure what powers the armor, but all I know is, like, the armor is dope. It's like, if I recall correctly, it's like pure silver, and Tony is such a dick. at this point. Even more so than he was in Secret Wars. Griff says there's also the LMB version of Thor called Ragnarok. Okay. And then Griff says King Thanos with Hulk as his pet is wild. Yeah. That would be wild. That would be very wild. But yeah, I again, to me that's the scenario that makes the most sense. When you throw everything together, it just lines up. You know? Now is that obviously this is me thinking my thinks. Heavily influenced by what I've read and what I've heard from other creators. Now, when I say heavily influenced by other creators, the influences are both positive and negative. Like, there's people that come up with stuff that I'm like, okay, that'd be dope, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. People that come up with stuff that has a really good likelihood of happening, and people just come up with random ass shit that I'm like, oh, hell no. But that I may not have thought of, but that now that the scenario has been brought up, I can think about it and make a decision. You know? Basically, various points of view help crystallize my own thoughts, right? So I'm not like stealing from people. I'm taking in information and evaluating it through my own brains. What do you guys... Life model decoy. Oh, thank you. Oh, LMD. Yeah, I mean... I also think we're going to get Doombots. I think they brought that crowd of Dooms onto stage at Comic-Con, not just to mix RDJ in with. And I've heard other people say this, and I agree with them. I think we're getting Doombots. I think that was a hint that we're getting Doombots. Which is, if you're familiar with the comics at all, and I'm only minimally familiar with this, but I do know enough about Doombots to know that they are completely indistinguishable from the real Doom unless you disintegrate them. And that a lot of them even think they are Doom. All manner of fun could be had with Doombots as well. Jon Snow says, what are your Scarlet Witch predictions? All right, so Agatha all along set up the hunt for Tommy. I think some of that hunt is going to be addressed in Vision Quest. I'm not sure if they're going to actually whip out a Wiccan show between now and Doomsday. I don't really see it happening. So one way or another, they're gonna finish up Children's Crusade in Doomsday as the B plot, and like in Children's Crusade, they are going to find Wanda at Doom's side. Now, obviously, a lot of shit gonna happen in Doomsday and Secret Wars. And then, but she's gonna come out the other side of that probably, at least for a while, in much more of a hero mode. However, we will then be moving into the Mutant Saga, in which she's supposed to get her own solo film. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with that. But I say she'll be in full hero mode for a time, because I don't see any way they do the Mutant Saga, have Wanda in it, and don't do some kind of version of House of M. Like, that is just too big a fucking storyline in the X-Men comics, period. And I can't remember how she gets boosted up to the amount of power she needed to do the No More Mutants thing, but I don't see a way they don't fuck around with the mutant population at some point in the Mutant Saga. Probably close to the halfway point, if I had to guess. You know, things will be going cool for a while. Some shit will happen. It'll be bad for a while. And then when they get to the end of the Mutant Saga, you know, they'll bring it all back again. in a very general sense of the way things go. But yeah, that's I feel like that's Wanda's future for in our time the next probably 4 years. And he says Gwyneth said she wasn't returning, so who plays Pepper? Well, I don't know that they really need anyone to play Pepper. I mostly because I don't know how much they're going to actually involve or would want to involve Pepper and Tony's daughter. It would not surprise me in the slightest to see them practically ignored in the next couple of movies. So, I don't know that they're going to bother having Pepper in these at all. Now, after the soft reboot, they may recast her. But yeah, honestly, she's superfluous to the story coming up anyway. Matthew says Wanda isn't Magneto's daughter in Disney MCU, unless they retcon her origins and hand wave it away. That's true. I don't really think that making her Magneto's daughter is particularly necessary for what they want to do anyway. I mean, would it be cool? Yes. Would it make her much more comics accurate? Yes. Is it absolutely necessary to do that story? No. She can be just as closely associated with Magneto without being her actual daughter, and the story will come off just fine. The one thing I would like them to do, like specifically address, is her mutanthood, though. And what I would like them to do is, obviously in Ultron, it looked like her and Pietro got their powers purely from the Mind Stone via Loki's scepter. What I think they should do is instead say, rather than their powers strictly coming from the Mind Stone, that the Mind Stone merely activated their X gene, which would make sense, considering with the massive lack of mutants in the world. It makes sense to me that He Who Remains would have done something about that, but it doesn't necessarily mean he would have wiped out the X gene from the planet, just prevented it from activating, right? So, what if the Mind Stone wasn't the actual grantor of their powers, but just went in and triggered their X genes? That's what I think they should do. That's how I think they could make Wanda a mutant once more. So you guys hype for this shit or what? Hydra Cap, Maestro Hulk, just OG Thorer with 2 R's, possibly. Evil versions of everybody coming back and fucking shit up, not just physically, but emotionally. What do you guys think? Man says they're gonna have a ball recasting all those Fox actors. Yeah, they're gonna. It's gonna be interesting to see how they redo that roster for sure. I am highly curious. And I am well old enough to have had the Fox I am plenty old enough to have had the Fox characters around for 90% of my adult life, right? So, for people my age and, decade or so to either side of me, it's going to be interesting to see who they cast and to see how we all feel about that. They're going to have to do a fucking good job. I don't know that they're going to want to bring back a large chunk of the Fox roster, even if they wanted to. If they were going to do that, I would bring back. I would bring back more of the younger Foxverse actors than the older ones. Like I want Fassbender back. I want McAvoy back. Maybe just those two. Honestly, they can recast everyone else. I don't fucking care. Um, but yeah, that's yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how they handle that after Secret Wars, going into the mutant saga. Foshizi. Yeah, Delta Dan likes it. Lou likes it. Jon Snow likes it. I don't know what exactly you're laughing at, but if it was me, hopefully it was because I did something actually funny and not something stupid. Matty says, unless they bring in Patrick Stewart one more time. Oh, he's going to be in Secret Wars. Do not get it twisted. We will see Patrick Stewart again as Professor Charles Xavier. And I say that specifically because Beast brought him up in that post-credit scene from the Marvels. So we know in that universe, he's still alive. Whereas we saw him get his neck snapped in 838. So yeah, we're getting Patrick Stewart one more time. I'm pretty sure we're getting not Ian McDiarmid, because that's the Emperor. Ian McKellen. I'm pretty sure we're going to get one last hurrah from Ian McKellen as his Magneto. We're going to get a lot of the Foxverse characters one more time, both original cast and young cast. I am pretty sure. But I'm pretty sure their tenure ends at Secret Wars. It's been said many times, I think even by Feige, that part of the reason he's doing Secret Wars is to give those Fox characters a proper send-off. Which makes total sense, because remember, 2000's X-Men is where Feige got his start. He's the one that was sneaking comics against orders to Hugh Jackman. Like, the Fox X-Men are his babies. There is no way in hell he is going to not give them a proper send-off. So, yeah, expect a lot of Fox X peoples in Secret Wars. Delta Dan says, I like a lot of the Fox cast, minus the black leather. Yeah, I was never hyped about their uniforms in those, honestly. I mean, I didn't hate them, but yeah, I was like, whatever. And I thought that was pretty funny when they did that kind of, when they paid homage to that scene, that line in the first X-Men movie with between Cyclops and Wolverine, and then kind of readdressed it with Cyclops and Cable. And Cable's like, I'm supposed to wear this? Yeah, what'd you expect? Black leather? That shit was funny. That shit was funny. Delta Dan says, Cyclops would be fine with me. I would like Cavill as Cyclops. He's got the same bod as Comic 97. Cavill as Cyclops would be peak. Unfortunately, Cavill's going to be a bit busy for a while now. He's making Voltron. He's going to be making Highlander. And then he's going to be helping to create Shepard and also star in the Warhammer TV show. I'm pretty sure he's going to have zero time for the MCU. Unfortunate as that is. Yep, Sir Ian, damn Skippy. Matty says, because Captain Picard is done, that film script they sent for a Star Trek film is never getting made. Yeah, no. Yeah, I got to figure out how to turn that on, C-Dub. I'm a slacker. Delta Dan says, Rogue better have a booty, though. Lou says, if Rogue doesn't have a booty, we riot. Matty says, yeah, Rogue couldn't fly in Fox. Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, they never had her run into Carol Danvers. That's why. They skipped that part. Jon Snow, what is your opinion of My Time to Shine and all the Scoopers? Okay. Damn, I got to do a quick emergency pee. Don't worry, I'm not doing the whole minute. I'll be right back. And then we can talk about the scooper community. Okay. Okay. The scooping community. I'm not peeing in the can. I am not the Rock. Fuck off. I enjoyed Skeleton Kids episode 3 quite a bit. Yes, and I agree, C-Dub. That was the best episode so far. Yeah, it is. Yeah, they're doing really well of dribbling out the mystery at an appropriate pace to where we get neither bored nor like, why won't you give me any information kind of shit. Yeah, they're doing that well. For sure. For sure. Okay. How do I feel about the scooping community? Well, in terms of reliability and accuracy, at the pinnacle stand Alex Perez and Jeff Snyder. They are the most accurate in the game. The next tier down, that's where you get your My Shines, your Rickmans, your Toast, although he's hiding on Instagram and behind a paywall now. And then there's actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put Geeky up on that tier. He's been killing it. He's been killing it lately. Yeah, Geeky's up there on the same tier with My Time and all them now. You know, then there's, you know, other smaller scoopers. Cryptic HD is pretty good. There's another one whose name is escaping me at the moment. Holyfield News is decent. And then, you know, then there's all the other little wannabes who like Marvel updates who just run around stealing other people's shit. So as individuals, that's kind of how I rank them in terms of reliability. If you want to rank them in terms of personality, at the top is still Alex Perez. Snyder has an attitude. He's a bit douchey. He's fairly dickish a lot of the time. My Time is just, while she does, like I said, she's still up there in terms of accuracy, but she spends a lot more time engagement farming than scooping these days. And a lot of her engagement farming is being a stupid ass bitch. Rickman seems okay as a person, but he has an unfortunate tendency to work his wants and desires into his scoops, like never getting off the fact that King, like never thinking King wasn't coming back and always saying he's coming back, even though like literally every piece of evidence out there said you're wrong, Daniel. So he's had his issues. He used to be I used to put him much farther above my time in Toast. Now he's kind of down right next to him for me. Geeky's cool as fuck, just in general. I'm in a group chat with him. I love arguing with that motherfucker. It's so much fun. Matter of fact, we're debating right now who needs who more, Feige needing Spider-Man more or Sony needing Feige more. Or whether either of them needs each other. It's a pretty fun debate. And if you're watching this, Geeky, you're fucking wrong. Love you. Anyway, but yeah, just in terms of like scoopers existing in general, I know there's a lot of people out there who think scoopers ruin a lot of shit. You know, spoil too much. In my mind, they're pretty easily avoidable. You know, all you got to, for the most part, all you got to do is just stay on your follow page on Twitter. That For You page is a cesspool, and I never use it. I'm just always on my following tab. But yeah, just scooper culture in general, I don't have a problem with. Can they get out of hand and out of pocket? Yes. But in general, the way my mind works, number one, I love information. I love to know things. Especially, I love to know things that most people don't. I'm kind of built like that. And also, reading about something and then seeing how it actually plays out are two vastly different things for me. Like, you could sit me down. Here's a perfect example, right? Back in the late 90s, someone I worked with at the restaurant I was working at somehow got their paws on the script for Dogma by Kevin Smith. You guys familiar with that movie? But yeah, they had a copy of it, and they let me read it. So by the time that movie came out, I pretty much knew what the fuck was going to happen, when it was going to happen, and whatnot, right? However, even with that knowledge from the reading of the script, I still loved watching that movie and seeing how what I read about actually happened. You know? To know what is going to happen is, at least for me, is much different than knowing how it's going to happen and experiencing how it happens. Right? I mean, that's just the way I work. So, yeah, I like scoops. I like leaks. I like knowing things. I like trying to figure things out. Well, some things out. Other things, it's like, fuck that shit. Someone else deal with that motherfucking crap. But, you know, stuff like this, I like to try and figure out. And again, the difference between experiencing how something's going to happen and just knowing what is massively different. Experiencing how is so much more significant than knowing what, at least for me. So, yeah, I have no problems with scooper leaker culture existing. I like watching it. I mean, I guess you could say taking part in terms of I'm taking part in the scooper leaker culture by consuming it. So yeah, no, I'm down with it. Yeah, that's what I got on scooper culture. Matthew says Fassbender Magneto with that song from First Class. Yes. See, okay. Oh, Skeleton Crew. Right. C-Dub says, my girls all liked it too, and they are 2 4, and 6. My 13-year-old stepson likes it a lot too, and he hated Acolyte. Jon Snow says geeky is dope. Yes. Delta Dan says, we talked about this, but yeah, mine are 6 and 3. They were glued to the TV during Skeleton Crew. Jon Snow says, are you of the opinion that my time is grace? Don't think so. No. I mean, it's kind of a fun theory. I'm more of a believer that my time and Toast are the same person than I am that Grace is my time. I mean, I know we all like to say my time's a she, but we don't really fucking know. I know a lot of people, most of us traditionally think of can we get some Toast as a he. No guarantee that's true either. But yeah, no, I do not think that Grace is my time. At all. Can't really explain why. They just feel like two different people to me. Like, I don't really feel any connectivity between the two. You know what I mean? Just like in terms of expression. Granted, most of Grace's expression is done via video live. And obviously my times is typed on the TwitX, but there's still parallels in delivery whether you're speaking it or typing it. And I get none of that. But that's just me. Delta doubts it. Oh, you guys are agreeing with my view on knowing something versus seeing something. Cool. Cool. As you should here in the basement. You agree with the Chill Master. God damn it. But yeah. That's my thoughts on scoopers and the scooper, or the more well-known scoopers and the scooper culture. Jon Snow says, I don't have a problem with the scooper community, but I'm still not sure scoopers are a positive to the community. I guess you could argue they help build hype. Yeah, when they're not going out of pocket and literally giving away every goddamn thing, yes, they can be very good for building up hype. Hi, buddy. I love you, but no. Fuck up my camera, guys. Say hi. Say hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. So, I think well-disciplined scoopers are definitely a positive. Especially, like I said, like well-disciplined ones that aren't just out there flinging information all over hell. I think they're definitely a positive to the community. Yeah, they help build hype. And for people like, you know, of my mindset and a lot of your guys' mindset and Josh's mindset and Paul's mindset, we like to have bits of information to work with to speculate on and theorize on and shit, you know? I mean, obviously, we enjoy doing that, you know. It's fun to do content about that shit, but it's... Even if I had never decided to get on YouTube and I would still be in this mix, you know, and I would still have fun doing my own speculation and shit, regardless of whether I was sitting in front of this camera and behind this microphone doing it or not. I would still be doing it. So, yeah. A well-disciplined, a group of well-disciplined scoopers can definitely be a positive to the nerdy community. But again, the key is them being well-disciplined, which, unfortunately, for most of them, is not the case. So, I don't remember exactly when you left, Griff. Did you leave before all my Marvel blathering about Evans and Cumberbatch and stuff? Yeah, kitty. That's my big boy. I don't know where my other one is. He says, like, sometimes it's wishful thinking, like firing Kurtzman twice a week. Not a scoop when it's a wish and it doesn't happen. Yes. Yeah, putting out hopes and dreams is not scoops. That is for damn sure. Theories are not scoops. Speculation is not scoops. And yeah, there's some of the bigger scoopers out there do like to engage in speculation and theorizing without flat out telling us it's speculation theorizing, just kind of putting it out there. So like they're playing that fucking game. They're not calling it a scoop, but they're also not calling it speculation either. They're just putting it out there and letting it fuck with us letting it land with us however it lands. And obviously on occasion fucking with us because they put out a theory that we thought was a scoop because they put it out on a fucking scooper account. So yes. Totally valid point, Matthew. And yes, firing Kurtzman is definitely a hope of mine. God damn it, fucking Paramount, get your shit together and get rid of that schmuck. Excuse me. Right after Evan's talk? Okay. So yeah, I was just doing a shit ton of speculating, and then we've just been chatting in chat, and someone asked me how I felt about scoopers and the scooping community. So that's pretty much what we've been talking about for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Give or take. Maybe a little more. Not sure. Oh, we also talked about cost of living, how C-Dub has a fuck ton of degrees and makes us all feel intellectually insignificant. And how much people make versus cost of living, inflation. Yeah, we talked about a couple different things. You know I'm just fucking with you, Dub. Excuse me. So, yeah. That's the TLDR. We've basically just been... Once I was done speculating and shit, we just been bullshitting. Which I fucking love doing with y'all. I mean, this kind of conversation was one of my goals when I made this channel and named it what it is. This was always kind of like the vibe I was going for. Why I picked the name. Also the fact that that's literally what I was doing when I decided on the name. I'm sitting on a futon smoking weed. What the hell should I name my channel? Well, I'm just chilling in the basement right now. Fuck it, that's the name of my channel. So that's how that came about. But once I decided that, I also decided that's the vibe I wanted to have. Especially when I started doing lives. And so here we are. Just hanging out. Obviously, we've been talking a lot of nerdy shit, but it's not exclusively nerdy shit. Because all kinds of subjects come up when you're just hanging out with your bros in the basement, you know? It's just kind of how it go. So it's what I want. Only to a point, though. Some subjects I am going to save for whenever I get around to doing anything on my other channel again. But yeah, that's the vibe. That's what I like doing. I like hanging out with you guys and just chopping it up. Brooke says, anyone see Amazon's Secret Levels Warhammer short episode? Heard it was pretty good. No, I haven't seen any. I keep forgetting about Secret Levels until someone brings it up, and I'm like, God damn it, I want to watch that shit. But yeah, no, I haven't watched that shit. Jon Snow says, C-Dub got me feeling like a bum. I mean, a little bit. It's not his fault. I mean, fucking mad respect for all that fucking work. Like, holy shit. Like, mad respect for that grind. For sure. Jon Snow says, I like a balance of nerdy shit and life. Yeah. But, like, the less anger inciting parts of life. You know what I mean? Yeah. So how you feeling, chat? Feel like we've had a pretty good stream? Anything else you want to talk about? I feel like it's been a pretty fucking good stream. Oh, you did see it, John? It was dope. Have you watched any of the other episodes? how many of the episodes have you watched? Have you watched all of it? Is all of it even out yet? Like, I don't know anywhere near as much as I should about that. So, like, is all of it out? Have you watched all of it? Tell me now, damn it. Jon Snow, tell me now! I must know. Is it all dope? Or is it just a Warhammer episode? That's on Prime, right? Yeah, Amazon. So you're going to watch it later? Nice. So I watched the Pac-Man was because I was curious, and it wasn't honestly decent. Basically, one season out. Okay. All right, so watch any of the ones besides the Warhammer one at my own risk, eh? You're tempted to watch all of them? I feel like I need to give them all a shot at least. I mean, unless it just plainly looks dumb as fuck. But I mean, I am going to watch them. I don't know if that's going to be in the near future per se, but I am going to watch them. Ever since I saw the first ad and heard about them, I wanted to. Oh, Pac-Man was decent. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, I got to put that on my list of shit I need to watch sooner rather than later. But sooner rather than later still isn't necessarily actually soon. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. All right, folks, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. It's Wednesday night, and I still got to get up and go to goddamn work tomorrow, and I'm sure most of us all do too. Going to check out all of them I recommend. John says they're short. Okay. Yeah, they're like shorts. Like what? Like 7 to 10 minutes or some shit like that. Pretty much. Kind of like Tales of the Jedi. Was. Kind of like that. Hell, I could knock that out in one sitting. Even if there's like 8 of them. That's still like an hour and a half. Cool. All right, chat. Y'all been awesome. Thank you for being here. Whether you were typing at me or just lurking and listening to me blather on and on. I am eternally grateful. More like Visions, 10, 15 minutes? Okay. Yeah, maybe 2 sittings then. But, yeah, you guys are the bomb. Thank you for hanging. Thank you for chatting at me. Thank you for listening. If you're on the replay, thank you for watching this whole motherfucker. I appreciate you. Please leave some comments down there. Let me know what you think about my things. Let me know how you feel about Sony. Let me know how you feel about Kraven probably being a dumpster fire of epic proportions. Let me know how you feel about Sony at least appearing to finally make a smart business decision about the SSU. How you feel about Warhammer, how you feel about Cavill, and how do you feel about all these dope Marvel possibilities that we got coming at us in the next couple of years. You know? Drop your thoughts in the comments, please, and thank you. And if you haven't, hit the buttons. Hit the like, hit the like, I'm doing it wrong again. God damn it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell. There we go. Yes. Tell them, Dan, smash like. I was listening and warming up food, but I watched the one with Josh, and it was cool. Haven't seen the rest. Okay. Nice. Oh, did he watch that on the stream before he started playing Rivals? I don't know. I was talking with Ned at 7:30 about that fucking show, Skeleton Crew. Yeah. Yep. So, oh yes. Reminders. Tomorrow night, probably at 9, Creature Commandos Episode 3 watch party. Going to be interesting to see where James takes that story next. That's for damn sure. And then, of course, Saturday for our regular weekend stream at 9 p.m. And it all starts again next Tuesday with another Skeleton Crew watch party. Yep. Okay, cool. So, tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, episode 3, Creature Commandos. We watching it. We talking about it. And then Saturday, the usual. We'll be talking about whatever came up between now and then. Hopefully something, because if not, then I'll actually have to try and be creative, and that might suck for everybody. All right. Love y'all. Thank you for being here. You're the bomb. I appreciate you guys. And for those who are interested, which hopefully is a fair chunk of you, we'll see you tomorrow night at 9 for some Creature Commandos action. All right. Much love, y'all. See ya. Chat. I think we can now safely say, after some of these developments that have been coming of late, one of the most important aspects of the MCU's success, I think, is getting pretty well back in swing. And that is the hype. While they may not be quite all the way back on screen as of yet, although I believe that starts next year, maybe not till May, but it starts next year. Killing it on screen is coming, but I think right now we have hit, or at least we're starting to hit, the levels of MCU hype that we're used to feeling, or got used to feeling, in the Infinity Saga. I think we're there with that, or we're getting there pretty fucking quickly. And that's damn cool. So hopefully they keep this shit rolling. I don't see any way they can't. I think Feige is in the kitchen with like a full staff, just screaming orders and cooking his fucking ass off. And I think we're going to be enjoying the shit out of it for the next, well, 2+ years. And that's just till the end of this saga. After that, mutants, baby! Mutants, baby! The hype is back. The hype is real. And it's fucking amazing. As are you guys for hanging out. Y'all are fucking amazing. So we'll thank you for being fucking amazing. And tomorrow night, 9 p.m., Creature Commandos, Episode 3, watch party. But until then, wherever you're at and whoever you're with, always keep it nerdy. Much love, y'all. Thanks for being here. Peace. And don't forget to spread the news about how awesome it is to be in the basement. What up, Kendall? You're just in time for me to sign off, but I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad you showed up because now I can say directly to you, congratulations, bro. Glad to hear that everybody's doing well. Yeah, it's ending, unfortunately. Remember, you're an hour behind me, I think. But I do appreciate you stopping by. A, just because, right? I mean, A, just because it's cool of you to stop by, and B, because I get to say directly to you, fucking congratulations, brother. I'm glad everything went well. I'm glad baby and mama are happy and healthy. That's fucking awesome, bro. It's fucking awesome. And also, there's always the replay, Kendall. Chillin' can always use watch hours. All right, everyone. I'm really leaving this time. Much love. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for hanging with me here in the basement. Peace.